Hello, how are you?
Good, and you?
Good. I'm going to ask you a few questions and I just want you to answer them honestly. They're very casual questions. Okay, define ebonics.
Like slang?
Slang? That's it?
Yeah.
So when you think of ebonics, you think of slang.
Yeah, like probably words that are in the dictionary.
Okay. Do you intentionally refrain from using ebonics when in the presence of white people or atmospheres?
Yes.
Why?
Um, I think maybe because when I'm around white people or in certain situations and environments, I feel like I have to put on the best impression so they won't think of me as like a hood rat or a ghetto or I don't know, I guess specifically black person.
Okay. Give me an example of a conversation with someone using ebonics. So I'm going to speak to you, and I want you to use ebonics.
Okay.
Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Alexis.
What's up? What you want?
Okay, all right. And this is the final question. Did you know that ebonics was actually a language formed by slaves in order to secretly communicate with each other between? Ooh, messing up. Language formed by slaves in order to secretly communicate with one another so that the slave masters could not decipher what they were talking about.
Oh, I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
All
That's crazy.
right. Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Okay. Hello. How are
Hello,
you?
I'm good. How are you?
Okay. I'm gonna ask you a couple questions, and I want you to be brutally honest and just tell me how you really feel.
Okay.
Okay. Define ebonics. What is ebonics to you?
Well, when I think of Ebonics, I think of like a negative stereotype, really. Because normally when people think of Ebonics, they think of like people speaking like ghetto or whatever. So I don't think it has really any positive connotations behind it. Just like basically speaking incorrectly or speaking like ghetto.
Okay. Do you intentionally refrain from using ebonics when in the presence of white people?
No, I don't think I use Ebonics. I just, talk how I like to speak, no matter the race, really.
Give me an example of a conversation with someone you would have with someone using ebonics. So I'm going to talk to you,
Okay.
and I want you to use ebonics.
Okay.
So, what'd you do today?
Girl, nothing. Went to the mall with my dude, girl. What'd you do today?
Nothing. I kind of just, did a little studying. So, was your day okay?
It was straight. It was straight.
Okay. Um, Now, I'm going to give you a little fact, and I want you to tell me how you feel about it. Did you know that ebonics was actually a language formed by slaves in order to secretly communicate with one another so that the slave master could not decipher what they were discussing?
Never knew that.
Does that change your outlook on ebonics a little bit?
It does.
Do you think if society was more aware of the background of ebonics, they wouldn't have this negative stereotype?
Yeah, they wouldn't use it in that manner. They actually knew what it was. So I never knew that.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your time, and I really appreciate it.
No problem.
Hello, how are you?
Fine, how are you?
I'm good. Okay, so I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, and I just want you to answer them as honestly as possible. Define ebonics.
I think of Ebonics as like broken language, like slang, a slang that African Americans typically use,
Okay.
like broken language.
Okay. Do you intentionally refrain from using ebonics when in the presence of white people or white culture?
No. I think I talk pretty proper, like normally, so I don't really use Ebonics that often. Well, I don't think so, at least. But I feel like in certain settings you use it more, like with your friends or something. Like I feel like you would use it more than in like a school setting or a business setting. You know, like when you should talk proper and when you shouldn't.
You said normal, so do you find ebonics of the abnormal?
Well, like proper English. That's what I meant by normal.
Okay. Um, Give me an example of a conversation with someone using ebonics. So I'm going to talk to you, and I just want you to talk to me and what you would think ebonics would sound like. Okay? So how was your day today? What's up?
It was good. I was just chilling. Chilling all
Okay.
day.
Did you go anywhere fun?
Nah, I had class and a final, but that's about it. I didn't go anywhere.
Okay. And this is the final thing. Did you know that Ebonics was actually a language formed by slaves in order to secretly communicate with through the Introduction to African American Studies class, also known as Introduction to Africano American Studies. We have discussed scholars such as W.E.B. Du Bois, Frederick Douglass, Henry Garnett, and other Black intellectuals who have worked and made efforts and strides to get the Black community closer to Black liberation as well as develop the Black community more. However, we have also discussed practices of African traditions and the history of Africans and enslavement in this class, and having some knowledge and background on these African practices enlightens your thought. However, I feel like a lot of this generation have not had the opportunity to be enlightened on such concepts. In the book Exchanging Our Country Marks by Gomez, there was a concept explaining Ebonics, which we also discussed in class. I feel like our generation has failed in helping scholars such as Du Bois and Douglass move toward the development of our Black community because they are unaware. They have not done their research. They have not been as engaged in their heritage and history as our ancestors have. Um, so, as discussed in this video, specifically, Ebonics, I found this to be a very interesting concept because I once was also ignorant to the brilliance of the idea. And in discovering this idea and while reading Exchanging Our Country Marks in Dr. Meyer's class, I felt like it would be interesting to also let it be shown how much of our generation needs to be educated in this topics. Ebonics was not what it is today. Ebonics is not what it is considered today. Ebonics has a negative connotation with being associated with things of less status or less intellect or such ghetto concepts that people don't understand the actual brilliance behind it. And as explained through this video, you can see that courses like this are needed and they're necessary amongst our generation, not only to help build us as Black individuals, but to help build our community and help our ancestors and make them proud and contributing to the development of our community.